What's up, self healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Today, I want to speak about the topic of the domestic violence wheel. Yes, and so there's a lot to this. I mean, it's information that I know, but just so that I stay on track, I have some notes here. I do realize that I do have a younger group of viewers who may not necessarily know what abuse looks like. And I know that with the unhealed empath, a lot of us can come from a background where abuse has been normalized. And so we may not really see the different aspects of abuse as abuse. We may only see abuse as if someone actually physically puts their hands on you. But abuse can come in many, many ways. It can be physically, emotionally, it can be sexually, it can be financially, and it can be spiritually. Yes. And so abuse comes in a whole lot of different ways. So let's get started here. So some of the ways that an abuser, a narcissist, can abuse you and you may not recognize it or as actual abuse, right? Is number one will be verbal threats. Like they may make threats that they never really carry out, but it causes emotional stress on you, such as, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. That is emotional abuse, because then you may be wanting to leave but be afraid to leave, thinking that they might kill themselves. And if that's the father or the mother to your child, now you don't want that to happen, so you may be coerced into staying because of repeated threats of, I'm going to kill myself, right? Now, you want to take suicide threats serious, but after a while, you start to realize that they're not going to do anything to themselves, or if they are, there's really nothing you can do about it. Yeah, outside of giving them the 1-800 number to suicide and recommended therapy. But there's only so much abuse of manipulation one can take, as far as, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. Right? They may also do the opposite. They may be the one threatening to leave. I'm going to get a divorce. I'm leaving. Threatening to abandon you. That's emotion. Those are emotion. That's emotional abuse. Yeah. They may do things like threaten to take the children. You can go if you want to. I'm going to take my kid. My kid's coming with me. Whether he or she is saying that, but they're threatening to take the children. So you may stay around a little longer for the children. I want to add something to that children who are left in domestic violence relationship because the victim wants to stay for the children, I would suggest that you're doing more damage staying than you are leaving. Yes, at least leaving, you can give the children an opportunity to see what real love looks like. Yeah, that's just a suggestion. They may do things like use intimidation. Yeah, like when they get angry, they might throw things, or they might throw a plate of food across the table, just, intimidate you. They might give you threatening looks, like threatening to hurt you in some way, just sending that energy in your direction, and you just kind of know that they have the potential to put their hands on you. But they don't put their hands on you. They just threaten you verbally. They might punch holes in the wall, or they might get you in the car and then drive recklessly. I experienced that when I was in Germany on the Autobahn, and I mean, we were going like 200 miles an hour. It was crazy work, but it's very frightening when someone is driving and they drive recklessly. Now, they didn't hit you. They didn't say anything, so you really can't claim abuse. Right? But it is intimidating someone without touching or saying anything to them is considered abuse. With emotional abuse, I would dare to say it's worse than physical abuse. I would dare to say it is just as bad as physical abuse. And so they might do things like put you down, or they talk about how you look, You know, they might compare you to their ex, or compare you to other men or to other women that are within the area. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody they work with. You know what I mean? They might compare you to them. They might let you know that nothing that you do is good enough. You know, you might cook dinner, or you might take their car and wash it for them, or you might, whatever it is, whatever you do is not good enough. The house is never clean enough. You know, you can never make enough money. The food is never good enough. The children are never taken care of good enough. And so everything is just emphasized on, you're just picked at constantly. That's emotional abuse. Comparing you to others, we already spoke about that. They might do stuff like badmouth your family and your friends. And then they might say, especially an unhealed empath comes from a family of toxic people. The whole family's messed up, to include the unhealed empath, right? So he might say, or she might say, "You're just like your mama." Or you're just like your daddy. Your family ain't about nothing. Your sisters are messed up, and your brother is crazy, and you the best thing they got going, and you ain't shit. You can tell I've heard that, can't you? But they will down you like that, and they will down anybody around you, because before the empath heals, they are trapped in a web of the family chaos, and so their family is all that they have, right? Eventually, the empath moves on and like goes no contact, because they start realizing, what the hell? But at this period of the abuse, the empath is still associated with the family, and so the abuser may down the family and talk about how bad they are, and so the abuser starts thinking, well, dang, if everybody in my family is bad, I must be bad too. They will come and say things like, nobody will ever want you, look at you. You know what I'm saying? So that's some emotional abuse. In isolation, when they start isolating you, because the abuser will typically isolate you, and it's done so subtly, so subtle, that you may not even realize that it's happening. Like, they might look for a job in another state, or they might start saying that talking bad about your friends that you hang out with. They might start saying that we can't afford your hobbies. Like, if you have a hobby, you like to go bowling, or you like to go do whatever it is you do, you go to the gym and work out, they might start saying, we can't afford that gym payment anymore, or we can't afford for you to go bowling anymore. They start isolating you, taking away your hobbies. They start bad mouthing. If you have any friends, they bad mouth them and talk about how much of a whore they are, or they're no good, or they're not really your friend. And so they start isolating you from family and friends, taking away your hobbies, controlling what you do, and really monitoring when you come and go, and actually, controlling who you can see and who you can't see. They might monitor your social media page and have all your passwords and things like that. They start slowly isolating you and controlling everything that you do. This is also a form of abuse. An abuser will do things like want to keep you pregnant, right? Like they want to keep you pregnant. Now this is a two-party thing, but it's like when you're in a relationship, you don't really realize it when you're in it. You realize it after you're out of it, and you've started healing. But when you're in it, you don't see it. So they want to keep you pregnant, and they will also use the children, like we said up the top, when they start making verbal at the beginning, when they start making verbal abuse. They might use the children against you, like threaten to take the children. They might turn the children against you and get the children involved on the abuse against you. Literally, this is how some of these narcissists will do. They will coerce the children, turn the children into flying monkeys, and then sit there and tell the child to say something to you that's abusive, and then laugh, high five the child, pat the child on the back, tell them good job. And so before you know it, the child is abusing, the children are abusing the victim as much as the perpetrator is abusing the victim. And this can go both ways. It doesn't have to be, this is not just women and men. We know these days that women can be just as violent as men can be, just as nasty as men abusers. Women, female abusers can be just as nasty as male abusers. When it's a female abuser, when it comes to children, she may have children that aren't even his. And that is an abuse on a whole other level. That is emotional, financial. It's abuse on a whole other level. Because here this guy is taking care of these children and thinking that they're his. And the whole time she knows they're not. The female narcissist will do that. I know female narcissists that 2 out of their 3 children were not the father was not the father that she had said they were. So female narcissists will do that. Another thing a female narcissist will do, and to abuse the masculine, is that if she gets pregnant by him, she will go use abortion as birth control. And then she'll let him know that she's doing that. Emotionally abusing him, making him feel like he's not worthy to have a child, like he is just too disgusting for her to carry his child, and she'll do that just to hurt him. That's abuse. Now, we have my body, my choice, but you have some people that will use abortion as a way to hurt someone else. Because a narcissist is not attached to getting pregnant. Somebody with a sound mind, unless there's really extreme reasons why they can't get pregnant right now. The second that a woman gets pregnant, she's in love with the baby. But a narcissist has no attachment to that, none whatsoever, and will verbally speak about it like it's nothing. Because they don't consider that, that anything wrong. But the man who is with that female narcissist, he doesn't get an option to say whether he wants that child or not. And again, a female narcissist will get pregnant by somebody else and pretend like it's his the whole time, have the man paying child support, have the man raising the child and everything else. And that's one of the reasons I am so for another topic, but I digress. I'm so for getting the DNA test at the second of birth, because there are a lot of men out there who are victims of this. So they might use the children to relay messages because they're giving you the silent treatment. Giving you the silent treatment is another form of emotional abuse. Walk around the house for days and weeks not speaking to you. That is abuse. So they may use privilege, like, using you as a servant. That all you do is cook and clean. During intercourse, they may just treat you as if you were like a masturbating device. You're not even in the room. They're in the room by themselves with a masturbating device. And that's how the sexual abuse can feel. Or their privilege or their entitlement to your body, their entitlement to your time, their entitlement to your services. They're very entitled. And they expect you, now we're talking about the narcissist, they expect you to do these things. And they honestly, truly feel entitled, like you're supposed to do it. When it comes to spiritual abuse, some of these narcissists are like spiritual or religious freaks. And they'll do stuff like use the Bible against you. This is a form of spiritual abuse, where they might say the rod is for the back of a fool and then commence to beating you. Or where they might say that you're supposed to have your head covered and a skirt down to your ankles, and if you don't, then you're a whore. They might use religious practices to control what one eats. Or on the other hand, they may minimize your spiritual beliefs. You always up in that church. What are you doing? Sleeping with the pastor? They accuse you of things that you haven't done. This is abuse. And it's not just once or twice where a human being might get insecure and say, "Hey, honey, is there something going on with the secretary?" No, it's all the time. You're sleeping with that girl up there. You're over there with that guy. You're sleeping with the pastor. Why are you always going to the hospital? Are you sleeping with the doctor? It's just continuous. They may do things when it comes to sexual abuse that crosses your boundaries, that violates your boundaries. That under any other circumstances, it would be counted as rape or sexual assault. But because they are your significant other, they get away with it. When it comes to financial abuse, they may keep you from getting a job or do something to make you lose your job. Like they could go as far as putting something in your food so that you piss hot on a test and get fired. Or they may belittle your job. You got that little job, now you think you're this, that, and the other. You think you're better. Back to the verbal abuse. They may force they may force you to have to ask for money. Can I get $10 for gas? They may force you to do things like make a list, the grocery list. And now you can do it online. You can order your food online, but make a list, and then they want to see what you got. They give you a limited amount. You have $200. You have $100 to buy on food, and every penny of that has to go on food, and it has to be exact. Don't go over $200. And if you go under $200, where's my change? They may give the victim allowance. You get a little allowance. So that's how they financially abuse you. They control the money. They won't let you get a job and make your own money, but they'll control the money and you'll have to ask for it. So they may minimize your accomplishments. Like anytime you want to approve yourself or go do something for yourself, they start minimizing it and criticizing you for it. When you say, "I feel like I'm being abused," they minimize that. They start gaslighting you. Well, if you hadn't have, you're the reason why it's your fault. And they minimize the part that they play in it and project it all on you, making it your fault. And after a while of being in abusive relationships, you start to believe that it's your fault. You start to believe that no one else will want you. You start to believe that your children hate you. You start to believe that you don't have the ability to keep a job, that you don't have what it takes to keep friends. You start to believe that your family doesn't love you. You start to believe that you are not worthy. You start to believe that if they abuse you and you have miscarriages, they'll say something like, "Your body is a graveyard." You start to believe that stuff. Whole time they're poisoning your food. Narcissistic abuse is horrible. And they don't necessarily show themselves until after you're already in the relationship, after you're already locked in, after you're already married. That's when they take the mask off and they start abusing you. By that time, you're trapped. You have children, you're married, you're in another state somewhere. So oftentimes we look at abuse as only somebody physically hitting you. But I want you to know that abuse comes in several ways: mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually, financially, emotionally. And you need to know the signs and symptoms when you are being abused. I hope that none of you are going through this, but in my heart, I know that some of you are. Stop overlooking it if you can. Stop thinking that, well, he didn't hit me or she didn't hit me, so I'm not really being abused. That's not true. You are a whole person. You have emotions, you have feelings. All that stuff can be attacked and abused. If you are being abused, I'm going to drop the domestic violence hotline down below. I also have a video on how to safely leave a domestic violence relationship. Statistics show that most women or men lose their lives at the point of exit. So you want to make sure that you leave an intimate partner violence abusive situation safely. Yeah. So make sure to check that out. I'll also drop that video in the description so that you can check it out on how to safely leave a domestic violence situation. Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you today. Here on Closing the Gap, we make a conscious effort to try and meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. We'll see you next time.